stop before you scroll, before your mind jumps to the next distraction, before another unconscious thought decides your future for you. This is not just another meditation. This is not background noise. This is not passive listening. This is a 90-second identity trial. Only 1% can sustain this frequency without their mind trying to escape. Most people break before transformation even begins, not because they are weak, but because their identity is unstable. And if you can hold this, if you can stay present, if you can complete the full 90 seconds without mentally fleeing, you interrupt the pattern that has been unconsciously shaping your reality. That's not motivation, that's mechanics. So here's the deal. If you're ready to test your alignment, if you're ready to experience identity coherence, if you're ready to step into the observer state where awareness, emotion, and self-concept synchronize, then stay. And before we begin, subscribe, because this channel is not entertainment. It's recalibration. Like this video, because engagement signals intention. And comment below, I am ready, not for me, but to declare it to yourself. At the end, if you complete the full 90-second stabilization, comment a line to anchor your new baseline. Now breathe, because Chapter 1 begins. You were never taught how powerful your presence is. You were taught how to desire. You were taught how to chase. You were taught how to want. But you were never taught how to stabilize. And manifestation is not created by desire. It is created by identity coherence. Let me explain something most people never realize. Your reality is not responding to what you want. It is responding to what you consistently are. Not who you pretend to be, not who you post online, not who you visualize for 5 minutes, but who you are when no one is watching, who you are when you're uncertain, who you are when silence appears. And that is why most minds break. Because silence exposes identity instability. When you remove distraction, the nervous system starts searching. When you remove stimulation, unconscious patterns surface. When you remove noise, you meet yourself. And most people do not want to meet themselves. They want the car. They want the relationship. They want the money. They want the recognition. But they do not want to sit in the 90 seconds where their current identity dissolves. Transformation does not begin with excitement. It begins with discomfort. The discomfort of not knowing who you are becoming. The discomfort of letting go of familiar thought loops. The discomfort of realizing that your old emotional patterns were stabilizing a reality you secretly resented. Here is the truth. Your nervous system prefers familiar pain over unfamiliar power. Let that sink in. Your mind would rather replay anxiety it understands than step into a calm it cannot control. And this is where the 1% separates from the 99%. The 99% break because their identity depends on mental noise. They need the constant narrative. They need the internal drama. They need the predictable worry. They need the emotional roller coaster. Without it, they feel empty. But the 1%? They understand that the space between thoughts is not emptiness. It is authorship. The observer state is not detachment from life. It is sovereignty over it. When you enter the observer state, something profound happens. Awareness becomes primary. Emotion becomes chosen. Self-concept becomes fluid. And when those three synchronize, you stop reacting to reality. Reality begins responding to you differently. But to reach that state, you must survive 90 seconds without unconsciously escaping. No checking your phone. No adjusting your posture out of restlessness. No drifting into mental storytelling. Just presence. And here is why that is so difficult. Because presence exposes identity conflict. Let me speak to you directly. You say you want abundance, but your body tightens when you imagine having it. You say you want love, but your nervous system anticipates betrayal. You say you want success, but your identity is attached to being overlooked. That is incoherence. And incoherence creates delay. Not because the universe is testing you, not because manifestation is mystical, but because your internal signals are contradictory. Identity coherence is when your thoughts match your emotional baseline. Your emotional baseline matches your self-concept. Your self-concept matches your expectation. When that alignment stabilizes, perception shifts. And when perception shifts, behavior shifts. And when behavior shifts, circumstances reorganize, not magically, mechanically. You are not trying to force reality. You are stabilizing a frequency your nervous system can sustain. Most people attempt manifestation like a sprint, but identity transformation is endurance, and endurance begins with stillness. So here is what is about to happen. In this experience, you will enter a 90-second stabilization window. You will not chase a visualization. You will not repeat affirmations. You will not beg the universe. You will become aware. You will notice your thoughts. You will notice your breath. You will notice your body. You will notice the urge to move. And you will not react. Because the moment you stop reacting, you stop reinforcing your old identity. The old identity feeds on automatic response. It feeds on immediate distraction, immediate emotional reaction, immediate doubt. But when you pause, when you sustain awareness, you interrupt the unconscious loop. And for a brief moment, you exist without reinforcement. That is where identity becomes flexible. That is where a new internal baseline can emerge. I want you to understand something deeply. You do not manifest what you imagine once. You manifest what you emotionally rehearse daily. Your dominant internal state is your broadcast. And if your broadcast is unstable, so is your external experience. The 90-second frequency is not about intensity, it is about stability. Can you remain calm without proving? Can you remain present without escaping? Can you remain aware without judging? If you can, you create space between stimulus and response, and in that space you choose who you are becoming. Most people fear this space, because in that space the victim identity loses power, the anxious identity loses power, the unworthy identity loses power, and power without drama feels unfamiliar, so the mind tries to sabotage it. It says, "This is boring. This isn't working. I feel restless. I need to move. I should check something." That voice is not you. It is the echo of conditioning, and if you can watch it without obeying it, you begin reclaiming authorship. This is why only 1% can sustain it, because the majority have never trained their nervous system to tolerate still empowerment. They can tolerate chaos. They can tolerate urgency. They can tolerate stress. But peace? Peace feels suspicious. Coherence feels exposed. And responsibility feels heavy. Because once you realize your identity stabilizes your reality, you can no longer blame circumstances. And that is confronting. But it is also liberating. You are not here to chase manifestations. You are here to stabilize the version of you who no longer chases. The version who expects. The version who embodies. The version who is internally aligned. That version does not beg. It does not rush, it does not panic, it holds. And today, you test whether you can hold. Not for 7 minutes, not for an hour, not for a retreat, for 90 seconds. Because if you cannot hold 90 seconds, you cannot hold a new life. Let that truth land gently. This is not judgment, this is clarity. You build capacity in increments. You train identity like a muscle. You increase tolerance for internal stability, and every time you complete this, you raise your baseline. So before we move deeper, ask yourself honestly, are you willing to meet yourself without distraction? Are you willing to observe your thoughts without fusing with them? Are you willing to experience stillness without escape? If the answer is yes, then you are already shifting. Because awareness is the first break in the pattern. Take a breath, slowly. Inhale, hold, exhale. Notice the silence after the exhale. That silence is neutral. It does not judge you. It does not measure you. It does not demand performance. It simply exists. That is the frequency you are about to stabilize. And if you stay, if you truly stay, you will feel something subtle, not fireworks, not dramatic visions, but coherence, a quiet internal agreement, a sense that your thoughts are not fighting your body, a sense that your emotions are not pulling you backward, a sense that you are not chasing yourself. That is alignment, and alignment does not scream. It hums. Chapter 1 is about understanding why most people never reach this hum. Because they confuse intensity with transformation. They confuse desire with embodiment. They confuse imagination with identity. You are not here to imagine your future. You are here to become internally consistent with it. And consistency requires stillness. So stay. Because Chapter 2 will take you into the actual stabilization window, where you test your coherence. And remember, if you complete it fully, without mental escape, without distraction, without abandoning presence, comment aligned, not to impress anyone, but to acknowledge the shift inside yourself. Now breathe again. We are just getting started. Close your eyes, not dramatically, not forcefully, just gently. Let the eyelids fall the way a curtain falls before something meaningful begins. This is the 90-second window, not yet, but almost. First, understand what you are stepping into. You are not trying to create something. You are not trying to visualize something. You are not trying to force an emotion. You are entering a stabilization field, and in this field, you will not perform. You will not chase. You will not correct. You will observe, because the observer state is where identity loosens its grip. Right now, notice your breath. Do not change it yet. Just notice it. Is it shallow? Is it tight? Is it fast? Is it uneven? That pattern is not random. Your breathing rhythm reflects your current identity baseline. Your body is always broadcasting what your conscious mind tries to hide. So instead of fixing it, simply witness it. The moment you witness without judgment, you create separation. And separation creates choice. Now gently inhale through your nose, slowly. Not dramatically, not exaggerated. Just enough to feel the air travel down your throat and expand your chest. Pause at the top and exhale slowly through your mouth. Let the shoulders soften. Let the jaw unclench. Let the tongue rest. This is not about relaxation. It is about regulation. There is a difference. Relaxation is temporary. Regulation is identity level. Now listen carefully. For the next 90 seconds, your only task will be this: remain aware without reacting. If a thought appears, notice it. If an emotion rises, notice it. If your body wants to move, notice it. But do not follow it. You are not suppressing. You are not resisting. You are simply not reinforcing. Because reinforcement is how identity stays locked. Every time you react automatically, you vote for your old self. Every time you stay present, you create space for a new baseline. Your mind may say, "This is pointless." Notice it. Your body may feel restless. Notice it. You may feel a subtle urge to check how much time has passed. Notice it. You are not fighting your mind. You are retraining your allegiance. Right now, you are learning that you are not your thoughts. You are not your emotional waves. You are not your automatic impulses. You are the awareness watching them. And awareness does not panic. Awareness does not rush. Awareness does not beg reality to change. It simply observes. And observation alters the pattern. Now we begin. 90 seconds. Stay with your breath. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Feel the air touch the tip of your nose. Feel the chest rise. Feel the stomach expand. Stay. A thought appears, maybe about your day, maybe about whether this is working, maybe about something unfinished. Do not complete the thought. Do not push it away. Let it pass like a cloud. Return to breath. Your nervous system might subtly tighten. That tightening is the old identity asking for stimulation. It is used to constant movement, constant thinking, constant solving. But right now there is nothing to solve. Stay. If discomfort arises, let it be there. Discomfort is not danger. It is unfamiliar stillness. Most people interpret unfamiliar stillness as threat. That is why they break. They interpret neutrality as emptiness. They interpret silence as lack. But silence is spaciousness, and spaciousness is potential. Stay. Notice the gap between inhale and exhale. There is a small pause. That pause is power. Because in that pause, there is no past, there is no future, there is no identity story, there is just presence. And presence is unconditioned. Stay. Your mind may try to speed up, it may create urgency. This isn't long enough. This is too long. I should be feeling something. Notice it. Return to breath. You are not chasing sensation. You are stabilizing awareness. Feel your body sitting or standing. Feel gravity holding you. Feel the air against your skin. Anchor into sensation. When attention drifts, gently bring it back. Not harshly, not critically, gently. This gentleness is important. Because the new identity you are stabilizing is not built through force, it is built through consistency. Stay halfway. You may feel a subtle shift, or you may feel nothing dramatic. Both are fine. You are not here for fireworks, you are here for coherence. Coherence feels quiet, it feels steady, it feels neutral. And neutrality is powerful, because neutrality is not reactive. In neutrality, you are not trying to prove worth. You are not trying to chase validation. You are not trying to escape discomfort. You are simply here. Stay. Notice if your shoulders have tightened again. Soften them. Notice if your jaw has clenched. Release it. Notice if your breath has become shallow. Deepen it gently. You are recalibrating your baseline. This is what most people never practice. They try to manifest from chaos. They try to attract from desperation. They try to create from internal fragmentation. But creation responds to coherence. Stay. If emotion rises, anxiety, doubt, boredom, let it exist without labeling it as a problem. Emotion is energy moving. When you do not react to it, it loses its old narrative. Stay. You are proving something to yourself right now. Not through achievement, not through productivity, but through presence. And presence is the foundation of identity transformation. 10 seconds. Do not anticipate the end. Do not rush toward completion. Completion is not the point. Stability is. 5 seconds. Hold awareness steady. 3, 2, 1. Stop counting. But do not break the state immediately. Notice something. You are still here. The world did not collapse. Your responsibilities did not disappear. Reality did not demand your immediate reaction. And yet something shifted. Subtle, but real. You experienced yourself without reinforcement. You existed without chasing a thought. You remained without performing an identity. That space you just touched, that is where transformation begins. Most people never reach it because they exit too early. They check their phone, they adjust, they talk, they distract, and in doing so they reinforce the old baseline. But you held, and holding builds capacity. Now, feel your body again. Notice your heartbeat. Notice the temperature of the room. Notice the sounds around you. But remain slightly detached. You are aware, but not entangled. This is the observer state. In this state, you are not suppressing life. You are not escaping it. You are witnessing it. And witnessing shifts relationship. When you witness fear without reacting, fear loses authority. When you witness doubt without engaging, doubt loses credibility. When you witness desire without clinging, desire becomes clean. Clean desire does not beg, it expects. And expectation rooted in coherence is magnetic. Right now, ask yourself, who was I during those 90 seconds? Were you anxious? Were you calm? Were you restless? Were you steady? Whatever the answer, that is information, not judgment. Information. Because your current baseline reveals itself in stillness. If you felt restless, it means your system is used to stimulation. If you felt anxious, it means your identity is accustomed to control. If you felt peaceful, it means you are already stabilizing. No answer is wrong, but awareness is necessary. Now here is the deeper layer. During those 90 seconds, you interrupted your automatic reinforcement loop. Your brain did not receive its usual emotional drama. Your nervous system did not receive its usual rush. Your identity did not receive its usual confirmation. And in that interruption, flexibility appeared. Flexibility is where new self-concepts can anchor. You cannot install a new identity while constantly reinforcing the old one. You must create space. And that space is built in moments like this. This is why only 1% sustain it. Because most people underestimate the power of subtle stability. They want intensity, but intensity is unstable. Stability builds timelines. Now, imagine repeating this daily. 90 seconds, once, twice, 3 times, not forcing, not chasing, just stabilizing. Over time, your nervous system begins to expect calm, your thoughts begin to slow naturally, your emotional baseline begins to smooth. And from that smoother baseline, your decisions shift. When decisions shift, actions shift. When actions shift, outcomes reorganize. Not magically, mechanically. Reality reflects internal stability. If you are internally chaotic, you will perceive chaos externally. If you're internally steady, you will perceive opportunity. Perception shapes behavior. Behavior shapes results. It begins inside. Right now you have proven something important. You can remain, you can witness, you can stabilize, and every time you do, you weaken the grip of your old identity. You teach your system that peace is safe, that stillness is not threat, that awareness is strength. And when peace becomes safe, you stop sabotaging it. When stillness becomes familiar, you stop fleeing it. When awareness becomes dominant, you stop being unconsciously driven. Take one more slow breath. Inhale deeply, exhale fully. And ask yourself, if I can hold 90 seconds, what else can I hold? Can I hold a new self-concept? Can I hold abundance without anxiety? Can I hold love without fear? Can I hold success without self-sabotage? The capacity is built here, not in fantasy, not in wishful thinking, in stabilization. If you completed this fully, without checking out, without escaping, without abandoning presence, comment aligned. Not because I asked, but because you felt the shift. Because when you declare alignment, you reinforce it consciously. And reinforcement, when chosen, becomes identity. Stay with this calm for a moment longer. Do not rush back into noise. Let your system memorize this state. Because the more familiar it becomes, the more natural coherence feels. And the more natural coherence feels, the less effort manifestation requires.
And this is where most people break. Not because they are weak, but because sustaining a higher state requires something very few are willing to give. Consistency under pressure. For 90 seconds, you can't fake it. You can't pretend. You can't escape into distraction. You have to stay present, fully aware, fully in control. Your thoughts will try to pull you back. Your habits will try to reset you. Your comfort zone will whisper, "This is too much." And that's the moment that defines everything. Because the ones who succeed are not the ones who start strong. They are the ones who refuse to drop their frequency when it gets uncomfortable. They hold the line. They breathe through the resistance. They stay locked in, even when every part of them wants to quit. That's why only 1% can do it. Not because it's impossible, but because it demands a level of discipline, awareness, and inner control that most people never train. So the real question is not whether this frequency is real. The real question is, when the moment comes, and it will you fall back into who you were, or will you become the person who can hold it? Because in those 90 seconds, you're not just testing your mind, you're deciding who you are.